Cool. All right.
It's on.
So that's on. And then go here. We recording, so what all I do, got my hands synced up, and yeah, man.
Yeah, so I guess you got the itinerary in mind, or something that you got in mind. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. We just calling this thing Tao Town, or we just call it whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, how you like Tao Town, like living out here in California?
Yeah. This is it, really, the ranch here. Yeah, man, I love it. I've been here for a long time, and it's been just a process of being able to stay here. Kind of got the mountain kind of purged me a bunch of times. I just didn't have the patience to be in this kind of quiet and stillness for like more than 6 months. I would always like come for 6 months and then leave and go back into the world, hold my breath for like 3 to 6 months, 7 months, and come back, and just kind of did that throughout my 20s because I just didn't, I was just developing the patience,
And I really, that being on the mountain, and so we're literally out here 1 hour away from the city, so I've been here for like 2.5 weeks.
Something
almost.
like that, yeah.
And I fasted, we did a 7-day fast. We just got done with that last week. But, being out here from being because I lived in like an apartment in the city to come out here. In the silence like that, I could definitely see like you going in and out of it for months at a time. Yeah. And it's that specific phenomena, like you hold your breath, like you're up here, you get all the breaths, you get clear, and you have to hold your breath to go down into life and deal with people.
Yeah, man, and it's just like, it's such a contrast because like you're out here and everything is like organically shaped. Then you go into society and like the light is refracting off of these right angles and everything. It's really like offensive to the nervous system in like ways that like it's just it just bleeds into your subconscious kind of like you're just around a bunch of shapes you would not be around, and like they're just radiating in ways and creating basically light patterns off that radiation that hit your body, and then you just got to deal with it. You're just absorbing all of this like this I guess
so like traffic.
Yeah, pretty much malformed. I would say like malformed light, and just traffic in general. It's just like tangled light. It's just not as clear because it's bouncing off of a bunch of just inorganic arrangements.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And that's on top of the people and the anxiety and then the grid and all that other stuff. It's just like so offensive to the nervous system. Like, and over time, like you just. Or over like conscious breaths, you just see like, man, this is crazy. Like what I'm being subjected to, what people are being subjected to, and becoming numb to it. Like you said, man, sleeping in the city and like hearing the cars go by and everything. It kind of becomes like a replacement. Like out here, you hear the stream and the birds and all that type of stuff, and the leaves on the trees and all of those sounds. Kind of like you get desensitized to all that stuff when the city sounds replace it all. And the smells too, like your nose gets blind because the city just has way too many smells that you would, that you're just not gonna run into in nature really, like especially next to each other.
So smells, sounds, foods, taste just gets dulled and numb. Yeah. And like all the static, it's just constant static, and to be involved, just to be like in that, I feel like, I used to struggle to go to sleep without the TV on.
Yeah.
Like as a child, not nowhere near like a few years around here, but it's the same thing. Like to get used to a more organic grid, and to let my body settle into that and know what that feels like. It's almost impossible because I grew up in the city.
Yeah.
My whole biology is literally stuck in this state of being.
Yeah. Something's always filling the space.
Yeah.
And the body's just like used to like that space being filled by like something, whether it's music or the TV or something. Just
it's food. It's usually food, comfort foods, and those things like is those things living from event to event. Like and never really having to sit in silence. Yeah. It's just constant distraction, and then a lifestyle built around that. Yeah. And then it's just I like the phrase going to sleep in it. Yeah. I don't like the phrase. It's scary though.
Yeah.
Like
you're passing out in that.
Because that's how I'll forget who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's really crazy. Like, that whole cycle, man, and really never being in real silence, because the Wi-Fi and all that is like, it's kind of like a dog whistle. It's like a ringing. The body is hearing it, but you're not consciously hearing it, and you're just being bombarded with this ringing all the time, and so you just never really reach that state of relaxation that you could, just if you were being in the dark consciously, because most people we get in the dark and we just pass out or whatever. It's not like we're like in there living in it, we're just like kind of, I guess, dying in it, like you're saying, rather than living in the darkness. Like there's all the living, or supposed like living, is done like when the lights are on or when the sun is out, and then in the darkness it's not really much consciousness going on for most people. People aren't like tapping into anything that that would come from being conscious in the dark. There's almost like nothing in a society,
the insight,
to give you like to make you want to incentivize being in the dark. It's like people just think like stillness is just like inactivity, but it's really just like active receptivity or active passiveness, kind of, breath work and stuff, being in darkness and just being still and really just breaking the trance, consciously creating your own trance.
Yeah, and that just happens with the routine. It's just like crafting a routine, building that, and to have a routine, because this is the longest I've been able to breathe every day, every night. Every morning, every night. Making space for it, and then just keep growing. It's like you just keep making space for the parasites, or you make space for the circulation. Like I was saying, as far as like me, genetically, I know it's a long story. I'm gonna make the long story short, but like I feel like like my body, I didn't have the light to fully illuminate it. So like all the space that this blood or the light isn't occupying, or the breath isn't occupying, I just by default got filled with parasites and food and mucus. Like it's just like that just fills that space. Whatever's not occupied or not being like taken advantage of, like in your posture or whatever it is, like when you're not fully in the body, it's like something's taking that space or that flow of energy that would be going through there. So it really is like nothing's wasted.
Nothing's ever wasted. And it's just like up to you, like I guess how you want to live. If you want to be a prisoner in your own body, or what,
Well, but there's that split, like who's who, because once those gaps get filled by other things like parasites, then the drives and the emotional drives and things, and the identity gets created from those places, and that's not even a person. Like how do you get out of that? At all? And
you just like have allowed this thing to grow so much. It's like you can give more space to the breath, and then the cells will be breathing more and communicate more, and the breath will flow through more, or you just forfeit space, and it's just like retreating and giving up ground to the parasites, and they just take more and more real estate in the body, and then they're gonna do what they want with the real estate at that point, and it's like critical mass, kind of like once they reach a critical mass, it's almost like politics, where it's like they control the Congress, and they control the executive branch and the judicial system, then they got critical mass, and then they're the government, they're governing the body, they control the thoughts, and then the more people that are like that, then they collectively, it's a collective government that it manifests as an external government, But it's wild.
It's a mirror in that, and it's just so tough for me personally coming out of it to learn what that feels like, to breathe and fill the spaces with the breath, and then to be satisfied with that. Like to learn how to start to get satiated by, the lighter feeling of filling those spaces with breath. Like, okay, is this something that I could see myself for the next year, 2 years, 30 years, 20 years, getting more into as far as pleasure goes than comfort food? Or in those things. And so that's sort of like the transition. I feel like being out here in Tao Town is really helping me just completely do around you with the breathing, because like there's no real thing I can expect from that position, like on what it's supposed to feel like. So I'm just going through the whole routine of it and getting little reference points and how my body's feeling to it. But over time, it's developing this image of what it's like to actually be me or feel like me in my body.
And I feel like it just gets to a point where like everything is so unenjoyable without like stocked up breath. Like whether if you're gonna eat food, indulge in anything of the world, you know, it's like to do it with shallow breath is like my tongue isn't even gonna be as receptive, because it's just like receiving the breath. You know, I know it's breath work, but it's like receptivity. You're just receiving the breath fully utilizing it, getting all the energy out of it, and that just makes you more receptive to life, because you know the nervous system is what you're feeling life with. So that's how you interact and interface with life, is through the nervous system and through the nerves, and the breath is controlling the sensitivity of the nervous system and the nerves, and that's you're feeling everything with nerves, whether it's emotion or touch. And so it's all the nerves, and so like really like, you know, it being that simple, I guess. When your nerves are dull, you can't even enjoy that stuff. You know, it's like, you know, the flavors are just numbing the taste, and the colors are blinding the eye and everything. So it's like, it just got to a point for me where it's like, man, even if I want to indulge in things, I have to do the right thing to do the wrong thing almost. Like, it's not even going to be good, enjoyable. You know what I mean? If I was to just wake up in the morning and eat something, I'd probably just have like a bite of it and be like, this is miserable. You know, it's not, you know, I don't know, because I don't even see how I could do it at this point. There's so much momentum into not doing that, you know, and pretty much just priming my nervous system to get to a point in the day, you know, where I guess pretty much when the sun is, you know, more high in the sky, and I can make a decision like, oh, should I fast today, or am I just going to still just, you know, be on liquids or something or whatever, anything to reduce, you know.
And how that's a sensitive nervous system.
Yeah.
That's a sensitive ass nervous system that can tell by around noon, it's so subtly aware, I should eat today or I shouldn't eat today. I really, it's obvious.
Yeah.
It feels obvious.
Yeah, after like, you know, 10 years, 11 years of like just every day, starting the day with herbs, and then going from herbs to start the day to just breath work, and then breath work, then herbs, then working out, and another session of breath work, and then maybe it's noon at that time and I have a tea, and then I make it, the decision just becomes more obvious. It becomes a non-decision, really, like, you know, at that point, because it's just like, it's just everything's apparent, and it's just hard. Like, I feel like the collective will, like, unifying with mine to where it just won't even let me behave in certain ways. It's just like the momentum is so there that it's like, I'm not even going to enjoy it, because I'm going, like, you know, my will's going this way, and to reach this way is just like, it's just going to interfere with experiencing true will and true power, and I can't even sin or do the wrong thing the right way if I'm not. You know, it's like, it's got to just be in the momentum of things, you know, like.
Well, let's talk about doing things in the wrong way, the right way. Like, what's, like, an example of that comes to mind is just binging raw Fresno.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah,
binging whatever food.
Yeah, anything.
Alcohol, smoke.
Yeah,
like
a smoothie. Anything.
Smoothie,
yeah, anything. Like, I won't even enjoy it unless I've like done breath work prior to it. Sex, like, it's not even the same. Like, it just, the sensitivity's not there. My nerves are just not online like they would be, and it's just like I'm not even enjoying it. I can't even enjoy my unconsciousness.
I see how quick people eat too. Like, from that numb space into like be there, it's sort of like an endless pit. Like, you kind of keep going into having things not fully, so you need more and more stimulation.
Yeah.
You know, and
never completing stuff, right? Never completing a thought, and never completing anything. So it's like, like, you're always gonna need more to externalize and like compensate for the incompletion.
Yeah. So prepping the body to, in a complete way, you know, to get completely healthy, so you can make completely unhealthy choices if you so choose. Yeah. I mean, I just feel like if you're gonna enjoy something, you might as well enjoy it fully. Like, you know, if it's, even if it's to your detriment, I feel like I don't see what, you know, if you're gonna have sex, you might as well do breath work before it, so it's better. If you're gonna smoke, you might as well do breath work before. Like, if it's with anything you wanna do, food, it's all gonna be better. Going to the gym, anything will be better. It's just like, it's gonna enhance it. I don't know anything that you can do and enjoy it while you're out of breath. Like, imagine like you're just trying to smoke and eat, and you're just like, and people are chronically out of breath. Mm-hmm. So it's like years of kind of like being like that. It's just like them heavy, like them little pants. And the body, you know, is subtly hearing it. You know, they're just not even paying attention. They're not sensitive enough. They're like in the traumas. Like in the water.
Yeah.
In the subconscious.
Yeah.
They're underwater.
Taking on so much water to try to compensate their pH situation. And so, everything's underwater and fragmented. They're in the trauma, just not fully present in the body, not the blood not fully circulating. And so it's just a lot a lot being projected. You know, they're not just projecting the present moment. It's all these other projections.
The past. It's probably just basically the past. Like, it's just the past on loop.
Yeah.
In the body.
Yeah, they pretty much just in the trauma, and then like some people just kind of like, I guess, grow accustomed to it, like it becomes home. So they kind of defend the trauma and everything that comes with it, like the personality, and then with the personality likes, and then the people that come with that personality, they defend all of those things because like the trauma becomes home. And yeah, and it's like the trauma bond thing, I guess.
So a lot of possession going on.
Yeah. Yeah, man, and yeah, you know, it's just tough, you know, trying to navigate through the trauma, you know, because you're going to come off as offensive to most people just by being around them, just by identifying the traumas, you know, like people can see that you've identified the traumas in yourself, and then they're just going to feel like so emotionally naked around you that, you know, people just don't want to be that kind of naked, typically.
Yeah, I mean, and just one step back too into it is just, I feel like, because you missed a really huge point about how you could do so many different things, like prepping your body and like just doing whatever you want with the breath, and you partake in whatever. But once you start adding the breath to it, if it's something that's bad or that you've been struggling with for a long time, that's sort of the way out of it.
Yeah.
If you feel addicted to something, or you've been actually having an issue getting out of some habitual pattern of using some sort of chemical to just get it somewhere, you know, to gradually find your way out of that whole thing is just to be able to get to the breath, so you can start getting to where you can, I frame it in my mind like, oh, I'm fully having this, so I can get past this
experience.
Yeah, so because
fully present.
Yeah, like, so yeah, exactly. So doing the breath, so I can get completely present. So I can have that experience, because if I'm not completely present for that experience that I'm just going for the nostalgia for, I'm just gonna want it again.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna want it again. I know I will, and I know it's gonna be a few cycles of it too. It's gonna, like, for personally, it's just of years. Like, even because some people beat themselves up, like not like going through it, but I'm seeing it just sort of more longer periods of cycles of going in and out.
Yeah.
Of being able to be present with these things, so we can gradually let the urge for emotional gratification subside.
Yeah, it'd be like emotional seasons, and like, yeah, it's really an emotional thing. It's like whatever you gotta do to, like, in a roundabout way, to tap into some emotion that's not being addressed. It's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like the breath work could bring it there to you, and it's gonna be like the steady long haul way, and you're gonna get there, and you know you could do it, and you have to just be patient, or you know you could, you know, take your external route too. And it's just you're just tapping into some unaddressed emotion some way, and that's really like, until that gas tank is empty, you're gonna, you know, either keep filling this gas tank up, or, you know, like keep indulging one way or another. It's like you gotta just fully exhaust that gas tank, kinda, I feel like, and then the energy will go into something else. But yeah, people always, like, you know, get to a certain point and then just, you know, they never drink too much. They never drink to almost dying, or they never have, you know, 2 ounces of shrooms or whatever. It never, you know what I mean? People don't do the thing fully, I feel like, and then it make you want to keep repeating it, because you're not ever really crossing that threshold, you know? It's funny.
Yeah. And that's locked consciousness.
Yeah.
They're just being locked into that level of experience. Like, it's just that level of shallow experience, and just us having like an inherent limitless nature, you know. I feel like there's something missing unconsciously for everybody. Like, whether we know it or not, when we engage with life on a shallow level like that, it still feels like there's something missing.
Yeah.
Nah,
and it's nice. Like, I think the subconscious is always kind of like a lottery, where it's just like it seems random, but it's doing exactly what everybody needs. It's just it seems so unconscious, because it's like the scope of it is just so much greater than the human perspective. That, like, I feel like the things that you align with, that, I guess, trigger you, or that you need to go through to grow and everything like that stuff, like the way it's life spits those reflections at us. I feel like it's funny how it seems so at random, because it's like coming from like such a subconscious place, like when you're looking at it from the human perspective. But you know, it's really the subconscious is kind of like really, you know, the collective, and it's a more aware, you know, like the bottom of the iceberg is the depth. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, you know, I gotta a greater viewpoint of what's going on and what you need. Like it's funny how that is. You know, life always just giving you what you need and everything, and you know, what we want is just like this thing that it's not really existing. It's kind of always in our head. It's not really the actual. You know, it's the conceptual.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like so many times, like it's just the idea of getting high. Like I like to roll up, or it's the idea of meeting someone, or the idea of eating. You know, more. And then once I get it, you know, because you can't want what you have. It's like, you know, it's really just like, you know, the whole. It's the idea. It's not like you ever actually want. It's like you think you want.
From that perspective, from the perspective of being identified with the body.
Yeah, like you can't like the true you is never actually wanting.
That's the breath.
Yeah, it's never because it can't want. It's so complete, it can't want. So it's just funny, like how that happens. How like it's not possible for the true you to really want. You know, it's only like those I guess the misidentifications, or those parts of you, those extended parts of you that I guess can fathom what wanting even is. And then, you know, depending on your breath pattern, you might identify with that. It's crazy like how that is. Because, you know, you reach, you know, certain times, you know, you might not want something at all.
And that's so disappointing. If I thought I wanted to smoke my whole life, but it really was a thought.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
how you let go of that thought?
Yeah, it's like that's the inception thing, right? Like, that's the crazy thing, yeah, like... It's like I really feel like, you know, it would be nice if we could get it, you know, around better examples. You know what I mean? I guess that, you know, for the most part, it's children, and you know, children just look at what children gravitate towards or don't want. You know what I mean? Like they're not gonna, like alcohol and smoke and things like that. They're not gonna gravitate towards those things, and it's just funny. You know what I mean? Like how. Like it's always there. I mean, that's really just a greater representation of like how we are. Like we really don't be wanting stuff. You know how kids, man, they just want to play. Like they are play. Like they are, you know, they're everything at that point. They really don't want anything. And that's kind of just like, just the closest thing to our true nature. And a lot of that stuff is just missed, you know, from whether it be the vaccines or just the fact that most people's energy is not on the level that it was when they were enjoying their life. So they can't even remember that part of their life.
Yeah.
Because they're just not even on that energy level. And it's hard to tap in when you're just not even on that frequency. So, you know, all them childhood memories just feel like ancient history, and it just, you know...
Or the subconscious just hasn't blocked behind a traumatic memory.
Yeah. And then, the whatever cycles got created from not addressing the trauma, just bury it more and more. And break the energy more. And
so until the trauma's addressed... You can't really get back to the child, the inner child. And now I feel like a lot of those kids just die inside. And then that's when you have like adults. Or certain adults.
It's vacant adults, right? I mean, there's just certain vacancies in them, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what, you know, I guess we was going to say, like, that's when it is like pedophilia. You know, be a 40-year-old woman, but that she died as a kid, like a long time ago. And you know what I mean? If you were to like, really bring the consciousness, communicate with, you know, because you're communicating with your whole you, and then you bring that to them and you start communicating with the whole them. Like you got to work through all of that stuff, you know. But, you know, it's difficult because it's really like pedophilia. You know what I mean? It really is, like, because you're communicating from a place that is offline for most people. Like, it's just offline. They're not even operating.
It stopped developing at the child spot. Like, they're stuck at the child spot, so when you continue to develop, mature spiritually, you get to a point where it is a lot. If you choose to engage or have sex with that person, that's spiritual pedophilia.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah, you know what I mean. After having, you know, because like society will tell you, like, you know, this person is this old, so you can do this because society said it. But it's just like society says that sugar is not a drug. Like, my body don't know that it's legal. It's still a drug. You know, salt, anything isolated and concentrated is a drug. So in my body, whether it's legal or illegal in the black market, my body doesn't know the difference. It's the actuality of it is being a drug. And it's the same thing I feel like with sex. Is like, yeah, this person might be over 18. This person might be older than me. This person might be the same age as me. but they have not cultivated their energy or the spirit or whatever. You know, like it don't have to be the same as me, but just the fact that they haven't addressed it. You know, if most people just have not addressed it, so it really is pedophilia. Like it really is spiritual pedophilia, no matter how old their body is, man. Like, because people will be in their traumas for decades, so it's like they're frozen. You know, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, they're frozen, but the body is, you know, it's gonna develop because it takes 29 years to develop, and it's gonna do that.
Just crystallizes.
It's gonna do that. You know what I mean? Like if it has the water to do that and the air, and so whatever food is, I guess, you know, within the sphere of consciousness that makes that body feel like it's sustaining it, you know, because that's a lot of it. Emotionally feeling like you have, you know, what you're eating is supporting you is a lot, you know. If you emotionally feel like what you're eating is supporting you, it's gonna keep your nervous system in a place where your body can just push through it, even if it is horrible.
Because that belief goes all the way to the subconscious.
It's just alchemy, right? At that point, it's just alchemy. Like you're really just believing that it's good. I mean, it's like just turning lead into gold at some level.
Well,
until you don't have no gold no more.
What do you mean by if you don't have any gold anymore?
Like you're just tapping out your melanin, like you know, just spinning all this melanin.
Okay.
Because every breath and everything, you know, you're just taking in the dark matter and turning it into, metabolizing it into full blown melanin, and then using it in the body to make for all the other processes. Because the melanin is the base of everything, and it's like the universal solvent that is making all the other processes happen. So like we're just spinning our melanin on things. And yeah, so it's like you can take that lead in, you can take that garbage in or whatever, but
and
you
believe it's good for you.
Yeah, you know, and the more melanin you have, it's gonna, you know, make you feel like you can do it, I guess, you know, because you got a lot of heat and a lot of alkalinity. You know, being darker, you got more nutrients per square inch, more light per square inch, so you have more to spare. You know what I mean? So you take in an incomplete food and you have more. You're more complete because you have more light. So then you feel like you have a big bank to draw from, a big bank of melanin to where you can take from that and add it to the food, because if you can't process the food unless it's whole. So any incomplete foods are just going to take from us, and you know, we're really
just shorten our lives.
Yeah, just rob you of that gold, rob you of that shine, of your light. You know what I mean? Of God, pretty much. You just, you know, using your God to like fill the gaps of this devilishness to make it whole, and then you just like deplete yourself.
You're wasting fuel.
Yeah.
You're wasting fuel, and then compared to the life where if it was aligned with a more clear pattern, you know, your body, how it actually progresses through the whole life is probably going to be way different. I feel like, you know, the world is yet to see a lot of what's even possible for what it could look like.
Yeah.
You know, for guys like us.
Yeah, like if it was an environment that was really like, you know, pro melanin and really like, you know, nurturing the melanin, like that humans were also engaging in, because I no doubt there's environments that are definitely better than others for the melanin, but I feel like if it was really something like an established environment where, you know, the people were conscious of the breath really fully, and the fact that, you know, you're really exchanging your melanin for everything, it's really your real money. So I feel like if with that in mind, if you had people around that was like conscious around you, like you would all be sharing that consciousness. You bring those bodies in, and then that consciousness would be like pretty much like the oversoul of, you know what I mean, and you're around it. You know how it is, like if you're with somebody and you're looking for something, like you're really sharing the consciousness to find it, kind of. You know, it's like you're in the room, you can feel it. You know, whatever it is, if it gets cold or hot in the room, like the consciousness is like being shared. You know what I mean? You can you can feel the other person's body and their sensations, and they feel yours. This is the communication, you know, of self with self, or whatever, or life with itself. And I feel like, yeah, if you were to have an environment that was like conducive to that, to growing the melanin, then all it really would take would be like kind of, I guess, like sentinels to hold down the consciousness, like a ring of it, and then you know, however the bodies would get in there, and they would either get purged. People would just, you know, get purged. I guess if you're heavily possessed, they get purged out somehow, and anybody that has like any inkling of intuition and true identity, I don't think that they could even leave like a force field.
Or you kind of merge, yeah. It's a collective awareness, like. Yeah. And I feel like it's super cool when you see how funny it is, how it's organized with subconscious. We can see like how things are random. We can tap into that level of awareness about how things are happening, coming together. On an individual level, it's cool. You can come out here and do that, but get into where there's people actually like engaging with each other on that level and growing the awareness and continue to graduate, you know.
Yeah.
Not even learning more, but just like, you know, grasping less.
Yeah.
You know, and
just exuding that consciousness, just being it all over around you, and you don't have to say nothing really. At some point, I feel like if you've lived around each other and you're all consciously going through the motions of cultivating your energy and staying in alignment, I don't see how much would you really have to speak. You know, I guess it would become one organism. I feel like, you know, and that's the thing that's tough, you know, at this point, because I see, like, you know, not speaking is wild, like, because you can speak and be offensive, or not speak and be offensive. So like sometimes it feels difficult, you know, communicating with people, because so many things to me feel like they should be understood, and then when they're not, I kind of feel like a bunch of ways, you know what I mean? Like if you're around somebody and they need for you to put things into words that are, to you, it just should be understood, or you feel like it should be understood, it's really exhausting.
And that's because they're filled with parasites.
Yeah,
like it's
for
just
the most part,
there's a filter. There's something in between them and you, their awareness and where they're at, where you're at, and they need a verbal solution.
Because the doubt is just being created by the parasite. Because, you know what I mean? It's not like the message don't come across. We all get the messages. It's just like that doubt beat the parasites, man. Like the nervous system being compromised by them.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just so exhausting to have to tell people. You know what I mean? Like to just tell them things, and it's just not, you know, and it feels so apparent to me. And then I feel like I'm gonna come off pious by being quiet, and then I feel like if I tell them, I'm gonna come off righteous or pious too. So it's tough. Like, so then it's kind of isolating sometimes, because I be wanting to give people a chance, but I don't want to tell them I'm giving them a chance. You know what I mean? Like it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, you know, it's weird.
Yeah. You want it to be organic and everything, and like it's just, I don't know, when things are understood, then I just feel like, damn, you know, I'm disrespecting myself at some level here, you know, because it's just, again, when the communication's not there, it's just like pedophilia.
It's confusing for the first like 3-4 years, and then the 5-6 years of continually dealing with the same type of engagements, you know. Yeah, I could see that getting really exhausting.
Yeah.
And it's like, where are the other people cultivating stuff? And I was taking notes on one of the Tao, just one of the Taos. This is something that makes sense, but the way of heaven is about not talking, not having to talk. But like the way of heaven does not war, yet is good at conquering. Does not speak, yet is good at answering. It's not summoned, yet it comes of itself. It's relaxed, yet good at making plans. And to embody that, to say it's not possible to embody that all the way, I feel like that's real. Like you really can get to a point in your own spiritual cultivation to where, there's no words that are needed. There's no speaking.
Yeah.
But quiet.
It requires a lot of faith, man. Like I feel like it just requires a lot of faith to go through the processes and just walk by insight. You know, walk by faith, not by sight, or not by looking. You know, all by insight, inner vision, trusting the inner vision, and just creating daily contrast, I guess, every day, to where you can see if you're being wasteful. Because I feel like if you're not being wasteful, then life is gonna constantly push you to create and push things and people around you that you're gonna, because it's all one organism ultimately. You know, it's like life knows what to do. Life is aware of what you're aware of, what you're doing, what you're not doing. So like, it's just constantly synchronizing. Life's just constantly synchronizing things. And so I feel like the ingredients just come like with the more that you, the more that you give to life, the more the ingredients come. But it's since it's aware of what you're aware of, the more that you go into yourself, I feel like, and really cultivate and have that faith, like, I feel like it's inevitable. Like life, is no way that life is gonna waste, because the alignment. If you're not wasting, I don't think life will ever waste you.
No.
You know, so it's like, it's gonna, I feel like you're gonna get paired. Like you're being prepared, and then you get paired somehow, one way or another, like to interface with yourself. You know what I mean? Some challenge, whether it be a spouse or a student or a teacher or something. I feel like it's always gonna be some type of interfacing, because in this realm, or in this experience of interfacing, I feel like it's inevitable if you're constantly, interfacing with yourself internally, externally it just has to unfold. Like it's law, really.
It won't. I feel like it's not gonna give you more than you can handle either.
Yeah.
And that's something that's built in nature, like in just trauma healing, just with animals and stuff, or the nervous system. Just because there's so much trauma backed up,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to function. A human can't even function if they was aware of all the shit that happened to it at once. So it just lets up just enough to where you can still function. But when you do get into the personal work and you get more able to handle yourself and face yourself, your subconscious will start to bring up more things for you to handle as you can handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And so same thing with life and whatever relationship, and it being a direct mirror all the time.
I'm sure it's happened to you where you be like, man, I got just enough money to pay for this, or something just happens, like you just get just enough, you know, and it feels like life is constantly, it's not wasting anything, and everything's always, you know, there's no real gain or loss, kind of, so it's always like kind of just enough, and like it's the process of faith of just like going through things and not focusing on the lack, and then just following through and being accountable.
Well, check out, and then you do that and you get reference experiences, and then you build up more and more reference experiences to where you can chip away and get deeper with the belief, but more deeper than was possible. The more deeply I can believe that all this is actually true and build up all these experiences like this is indeed happening, now I can be faithful.
Yeah.
In the process.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely seen that with sports. You know, different periods in my life where, you know, it's easier to be mentally tough if you've been doing the work. If you've been really doing the work, and then you just feel like, nobody can touch me out here. I've been doing the work. Like, it's just breathing. It's literally breathing. I know I'm not slacking. You know what I mean? And then you can tell the other people that might be more talented, they're slacking, and you can never escape yourself. So it's like they're going to punish themselves because they know they don't deserve it. Like, you know when you don't deserve it. I don't know, like, I feel like I've known when I don't deserve it, you know, whether it be a girl or a championship or whatever. I'm like, I didn't put the work in, so I don't deserve it, so I'm self-sabotaging, really. You know, like, I've never got something I didn't deserve, honestly, good or bad.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah.
Kobe said it. Yeah, if I put in the work in, what's to fear?
Yeah.
If you put the work in, what are you fearing?
Yeah, especially if you enjoy the work. You know, how can you get anything from work that you enjoy that's going to be bad? Especially if you was putting immense work in. Like, that's immense enjoyment. I don't see how you could get anything but that back, you know what I mean? Or something like a variation, you know, you might have challenges, but, you know,
yeah.
It's really the process, the creative process, and I feel like that is, it just strengthens your faith, you know, the more you go through the creative process, the more that you parasite and skip and run from yourself and go do things in roundabout ways instead of like direct, you know, the strongest path. I mean, the longest path, it seems, you know, the direct path seems the longest, you know, and it's like, but it's, you know, it's direct.
The level path seems bumpy.
Yeah. And, you know, it's the path into the light seems dark.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it really is like, it's a formula and it's a rhythm, and once you tapped into it, because everybody, you know that everybody else can tap into it. Everybody is disciplined in some respect, whether they like discipline being a parasite and punishing themselves, you know, because I think it's the same to me. Like, you know, it really is. Like, punishment and discipline is like the same. You know what I mean? It's just like discipline is just like conscious punishment, and punishment is just like unconscious discipline. I feel like they're the same thing. You know?
Well, okay.
You know what I mean? Cause
okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Cause,
okay.
Because, like, if I don't discipline myself now, like, say if I'm eating like, the whole cookie jar or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like, eating the whole cookie jar, and if I don't stop and discipline myself now, consciously stop and say no, you know, to the little kid in me or whatever it is, you know what I mean? And say no, and then I'm going to be unconsciously punished later somehow, because it's like I'm going into unconsciousness.
Yeah.
And the discipline's going to happen one way or another, so I might as well be behind the momentum of the discipline than, like, you know, in front of it, getting crushed by it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like...
How about instead of discipline, maybe like frugality?
Yeah.
That apply.
Yeah. I mean, you call it frugality for sure.
Yeah, because that was another thing in the down cover day, was that's how you could be magnanimous, is if you could be frugal.
Yeah.
You know, being frugal, then you could be magnanimous, but if you waste like that and stuff, then nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, being frugal, you know, the more you give to others, the wealthier you are. You know what I mean? You can't give to people and not be frugal. Like, it just, like, happen at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, and frugal doesn't mean you don't have large amounts of money. It just means, like, you know your margins and you don't live beyond your means, and you know like that at the same time it's all energy, and you want to give to things that in the process of giving you receive, and
it's balanced. Yeah, it's not rushed, it's full, it's complete.
Like it. And that's the case with inner giving yourself opportunities, all of that is the same. I feel like we rob ourselves of opportunities all the time, and then we got no choice but to parasite other people.
Or be parasited by other people, or subject ourselves to that, to get vamped on.
It's like it starts with just robbing yourself of opportunities, and then I think it's tapping into the will is it's really kind of tapping into the moment always, and the breath, because it's always like people, you tell people that like, man, you're robbing yourself of opportunities, and a lot of people will probably respond in ways like, well, what could I be doing right now? And it's like, yeah, you should have been asking yourself that so you could do that, whatever that is. And it's always something, the power is always in the moment. It's not like the power is ever some other place. It's always right in the moment, and that's, I feel like it kind of gets missed when people have like designated certain times of the day for certain things. And even though I know that there's a circadian rhythm and a structure to things, I feel like, you got to be able to be flexible and firm in the sense of like applying the will, having the flexibility to apply your will at different periods, and then just be conscious of it, whether you drive in 11, 12 hours or something, and you just know like, all right, I'm gonna have to counter this with resting and breath work. The next day I can't eat like this. I've been sitting still. It's just being accountable, you know what I mean?
Responsible.
Yeah.
For the whole body, the whole system.
Yeah.
And filling all those gaps in the organization of it.
Yeah.
Like how the organs organize themselves and make everything happen. It's just like not them doing it unconsciously, but now you're putting specific herbs in to get to specific spots, and doing it, and specific noises to get to specific areas, or resting at certain times.
Yeah. Yeah, like everything. So where everything is really communicating, like you can really feel it, man. Like when something inside of you is screaming, like for the better or for the worse. You're like, man, I need to write this down, or I need to draw this, or whatever it is, or like you can just feel it. If you're not being wasteful, then you're not overeating or nothing, and then you can feel whenever it's something, where the location of some food is in your system, and then like the more that you have done that and like created space for things, like it's just the order thing, man. Consciousness just is order and respect of the order, and the more that you create order, then everything is like appropriated and everything has the proper space. So like, you take in one thing in, and then you know exactly where it is in the body. But if you take a bunch of traffic in, then you got all this gas and pressure, because some things are gonna get processed, some things are not gonna get processed, and that gas and pressure is just pressurized thought. You know what I mean? And it creates more pressurized thought. So then it creates a crazy cycle, I feel like, with
And what happens to the
rushing.
excess?
Yeah, the excess. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
what happens to that?
Yeah, everything that's that you're just gonna manifest parasites to process it for you.
Yeah.
It's like the parasite, and then I know we all want to take shots at the parasites, but it's like they are just our creations, like the same as our Instagrams are parasites that are our creations. It's the same.
Or even like if I'm an artist and I make an alter ego.
Yeah.
That's another thing, and a really huge thing I found was one really successful artist. He's like, man, the thing that I created, the character I created feeds my family.
Yeah.
It actually paid for my estate, all this stuff, and so the parasites are helping us.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, like you're using that as if you're doing it consciously, it's a little different, and you're just being aware of it. A lot of people might have a desk job where they work on the phone or something, customer service, and they got that whole other voice that they resort to, and they don't realize like that's a whole parasite. You know what I mean? Like that whole it's everything. No, the voice that you revert to.
Alter egos.
Yeah, when you talk to your dog or you talk to your baby, it's like that other voice that people go into is parasites, and then you start to lose like your inner voice, and because the outer, smoking, drinking, eating foods that you shouldn't, your external voice is already gonna be fucked. So like the inner voice has been fucked, like so, it's people not even hearing themselves, and then it's just traffic. It's all just traffic in there, and then the body's just open for anything, just hypnotized.
And you can be in public and see this happening to people everywhere.
Yeah, at every decision.
It's like this is what's happening to this person.
Just being driven.
Like, yeah, completely there in that trance.
Yeah.
and it is a real trance. And once it's over, it's like.
Yeah, like for me, you know, going into town, I'm already premeditated. Like I'm gonna get exactly this. This is gonna be my route. I'm coming out, catching my breath, and then restoring. And it's like that. On other people, I know their access, they makes them more accessible, for parasites. So they go in, they got access to Walmart more than me and things like that, and then things have more access to them. So they just be in it, man. I know that shit is crazy, man. Like. It's difficult to trust people because, you know, you gotta trust people because it's like the only way for them to see the process is to trust them and to show them the process and exude the process, you know, because, you know, it sucks, man. Like the only way really to heal the things is through, you know, going through the experiences. And, you know, it's discouraging, you know what I mean, at you know, different periods, especially for me. Like I feel like presently, you know, I'd be like, damn, like my relationship with females, like it's in such a place where I'm like, damn, it's almost like if I'm creating more damage, it sucks. That I'm, you know what I mean? Because it just perpetuates the trauma. But the only way that I can stop it is to continue to engage at some level. And it's just like finding the right appropriation for engaging and not engaging, you know, with the opposite sex is wild, man. Yeah. Because it's tough. It really is, you know. Like, it all, you know, so much stuff feels like tampering. And like, you know, you really can't rush it, man. Someone, you know, like a lot of it just be the rushing, and the parasites, since they're not immortal, they're not eternal like you. All they can do is rush, really. You know, they're not timeless. They're temporal. So they you know what I mean, they're operating from a place of I know that, you know what I mean, that I'm not gonna be here. Whether it's a persona or a physical parasite, you know, it just knows like, damn, like I'm just riding off of this eternal being. Like, you know, really, you know, I'm this temporal being that's like pretty much just like static in its movie, and like I've formed myself off.
Entertain me.
Yeah.
This is my like we're sharing an experience now. I wanted your experience. Your experiences look like valuable.
I was talking about the relationship thing.
Yeah, the relationship. Like, hey, if your experience looks valuable, I'm not as much into my experience, but then getting into yours is just they're just not even observing, but just watching.
Yeah, exactly.
Just watching you and taking energy.
Yeah, and then you don't know what's looking through them. You know what I mean? That's the thing that sucks. People that's not really self-aware, man. They don't, you know, they just remote viewing for probably a bunch of stuff, looking through them. Yeah. And then it's just like. Yeah, like you said, you're basically the 7, 8 o'clock news, or you're the sitcom that they watch every night, or you're Netflix. You basically just become Netflix.
It's a new movie, yeah.
Yeah, and it's wild, man. It really is like how much people just have become consumers of themselves, consumers just eating their own tail, eating other people. It's not very many people being producers and even wanting to be producers kind of right now. And then you got people that really think that they're producers. So it's like, it's a wild thing, man. Like, you know, it's a wild thing. Like, where it's at. Because, you know, at some level, ultimately, it's like the Tao thing. Like, you can't take credit for anything because God doesn't take credit, He gives credit. So if you're operating from the creator or producer standpoint, you're never going to take credit. You're the creditor. So, like, it's a funny thing, man. It's a funny thing where it's at. Everything is as it should be. And that's the part that kind of, I guess, sometimes feels discouraging, but it's wild, man. I feel like the whole relationship of parasite and producer thing, and I guess how that shifts over time. Like last Civil War, 90% of the people lived off the land. Now look like we're coming up on another one, or basically in a war that is civilized war right now.
It's like psychological, spiritual,
mental. I feel like now that we're in this. We got 90% of the people on the grid, 10% on the land. And it's like, I guess that's just how things oscillate, you know, and then I guess it's ultimately the process, you know.
Well, yeah, and it's supposed to, I mean, it's not supposed to be difficult, but thinking anything's easy, you're going to encounter a bunch of difficulty.
Yeah.
Like, thinking everything's easy, you will encounter much difficulty. Considering things difficult leaves you without difficulty in the end.
Yeah.
As the sage, if you were to take that path, like, oh yeah, it's supposed to be that everything's very difficult, and it's not like the path to enlightenment isn't supposed to be difficult, but you know he knows that is actually those difficulties are
the way to cultivate
get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you cultivate the divinity.
And yeah, and those trials, man, I just I love it because it's like that uncertainty. I love going through it and coming out of it.
Yeah.
And then not caving after it. Yeah. He's like not like, okay, let me dig a little deeper into the doctrine. Not the doctrine. You know, let me dig a little deeper into what's unfolding.
Yeah.
You know, let me just receive a little more of what's unfolding. And
and I've been through the cycles a bunch of times, man, where like, you know, sometimes I got through it without being hysterical, and you get through it and you're like, damn, y'all know, you know.
And that's what I meant by folding. Is getting hysterical, getting emotional, getting all like,
it's funny how that's
supposed to be happening.
Yeah, it's just like, it's crazy how like that's still part of the process in a sense that like you're just exhausting the energy in an unconscious way. And life, you know, once you've exhausted the energy, then life recognizes like, okay, you exhausted it, now you get this new batch of energy. You know what I mean? So sometimes I feel like it spoils people to just cry and whine because they exhaust themselves by crying and whining, and then they do get reimbursement for it. It's just that it creates more bondage that way instead of doing it consciously, exhausting the energy and applying the energy in a way that's productive and that will continue to grow you and not make you dependent. Because, you know, if you cry and whine long enough, man, you know, you'll get exhausted, and life knows that you're exhausted, and it's gonna, you know, either you'll die and, you know, return to serenity that way, or somebody will give you just enough to keep complaining. And it's like, it's crazy, like, and I don't know, people kind of subconsciously know that, so they keep complaining because they know, like, well, I'll get tuckered out at some point, and something got to change, something's gonna happen. There's got to be a threshold. They know it, or death, and people kind of want to die. A lot of them.
That's when it's tough to deal with them because it's sort of like do or die for them, and if they can't get the shit, they'll make sure, like, you know what I mean, like, oh, if I can't make this happen, I'm gonna kill all of us. You know what I mean, like, like that type of attitude. Instead of just leaving.
Yeah, like certain things, there's no way to be desperate and conscious, really. There's no way to be, like, certain things, you don't get both of them at the same time. You know, you can't be, like, consciously angry, really. It's, you know, it's funny how that is, you know, like, it's
you can
like,
let yourself be fully angry.
Yeah, like, if it's happening,
and
I
not
guess,
identify with it.
Yeah, and just blow off the steam some other way, you know, but it's like, when it's like rage or any of those things, it's unconsciousness, you know. I guess like you said, we were talking about the other day, like when I was arguing with that chick, I was like, yo, man, even the unconscious things I'm doing them as consciously as possible until I can fill that with something that's more conscious. Like, I don't know. If I'm gonna smoke, then I'm gonna take all the herbs that counter to smoke. If I'm gonna eat a certain food, I'm gonna take all the herbs that counter what organs are damaged from that food or inflamed from that food. And I feel like, you know, it's just like a different level of respect. Like, yeah, it's not the greatest, it's not the end path, it's the means to the next step, though. You know, and I feel like a lot of people, a lot of things just they ride up their youthful energy for a long time, and then, you know, or their melanin, one or the other. You know, it's like it's usually those two things. It'd be like they riding off the melanin or riding off the youthful energy, and it's like a pride that comes with that, and then
they have to work to cultivate the energy.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah.
And it just sucks, yeah, like, because, you know, somebody that might be heavily melanated and they just feel like, oh, I'm heavily melanated, why would I cultivate it? And it's like, yo, because then you raise the roof for everybody, and then the roof just keeps going up, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man.
Yeah, because, you know, it's like, it really is kind of like where the rubber meets the road, you know? The consciousness is really determined by the melanin. The melanin is consciousness. So wherever the melanin is kind of where the standards are being set, and the rubber's meeting the road, and you know, that's where the battle is happening. You know, wherever the melanin is, that's where the heat is, and that's where, you know, moths are attracted to the fucking mosquitoes and everything attracted to the heat, you know, like to the light. And I mean, I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. I know other people might have a problem with that, but or it might feel like I'm racist. But who else are you gonna let set the standard? Not trust another, you know what I mean? The melanin, you know what I mean? And if anybody's really exhibiting it, no matter what their facial structure is, if I can feel it in my melanin, like, oh, well, you know, he's riding with the melanin, with the interests of the overall melanin, doesn't matter. I don't feel like how they look to me at that point. I can't make everybody feel that way, but you know, some people really do have that in mind. It's not that many though, but I can respect it when it's like that, when people can kind of see, when they're operating in a way that's supportive of the melanin, you know what I mean? Because they know, like, shit, if I don't, I'm
so what's that like? So
operating like that,
you know, with the melanin, Because I'm not as aware of what exactly that is.
I know.
Of what
Yeah.
And I'm thinking darkness. I'm thinking consciousness. I think like just going in, closing your eyes, letting it get dark, or opening your eyes in the dark so you can actually see darkness.
Yeah. Now I just mean like people kind of knowing that like the harmony of things and not forcing things and just being respectful to the melanin, like. Like at different times in my life, like I could have definitely took advantage of like a more melanated female, in a sense of like just getting her pregnant because I wanted the melanin, almost like just to intercept. You know what I mean? Like I could have done that. You know what I mean? I feel like that type of stuff be happening where you got people out here that will breed those in those respects. And that's just like one of the examples. It's a pretty obvious one to me. I think like where like. I just feel like, like you got to step out of the way because it makes the world better. I feel like, with certain people, not all, but I feel like if I met a certain, if she's a melanated chick or a female or whatever, and I just feel like, this is not where this is not my eggs. Like I'm not supposed to be, she's not supposed to be receiving me like that. Like I'm just helping the overall fertilization of her, mentally and spiritually, physically through the contact, but I still have respect to know, like, man, I'm not gonna tamper here, and I feel like people don't be like that. I feel like like things are the way they're supposed to be. Like it gotta be a correct synchronization. You know what I mean? A pleasant synchronization. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
Like I just feel like it's just gotta be everything gotta be respectful to the melanin. And to the order. Like we might all like falcons are falcons and eagles are eagles. They be beautiful birds. But you never see a feagle. You never seen them. You've never seen that. Like we've yet to see that. Like things like that. Like I don't know. I just feel like it's a respect to the order, like to the continuity of things, so that the next thing is the next thing. So that gray is pure gray, and that brown is pure brown, and or as far purple, violet is pure violet. It's like, you know what I mean? Like the things are there to respect the other things. Like everything is there for the next thing to be what it is, and I people gonna do what they want, and everything is everything. I get that, and I get that. There's no greater than or less than, and everything is the whole. But at the same time, like I still would respect the arrangement, because obviously there's an arrangement of things, and I feel like that's always the hand of God.
And now you're talking about having kids.
Yeah.
You're talking, and in that sense of it being like, better have like it's this is where it's headed, the cultivation process. Like this is why you're getting yourself energetically to the like. If there was an end game, it's probably to accept another more on that line in that same fashion.
To interface with God, interface through the creative process. I don't know what would be more intimate than something coming directly from my body. I don't know what would be more intimate than that. Like to really be present through the whole process. Up until the point of conception, through the pregnancy, and then their life, and then like really being present. Like
that's really respecting life.
Yeah. And I mean, I just want to be the best gardener that I can be. And that's really I feel like it just comes down to respect. Gardeners just don't chuck seeds in places they don't grow, and they don't chuck seeds in places at the wrong time. It's like everything is respectful.
Trying to get some emotional gratification.
Yeah, sprouting something when it's not supposed to. Yeah, and it's just like, man, I'm not trying to force it. It's so rapey. And I just feel like, when I see people like that might not be, or melanin challenged people, maybe like myself or others that can actually see the dance of things and we can respect the chemical affinity. I feel like, that's one, I feel like then I can respect it. Then it doesn't feel like, and then I feel like then everything's smooth, and then that person is going to synchronize with somebody like themselves, or it'll be whatever balance that it needs to be to balance. What I mean? Like, it'll be a pleasant synchronization, because anything else kind of just feels like, like I said, tampering or pulling down the melanin, just because I know, like, I know the potential. I'm aware of the potential, what it could do, and I'm aware of, the biochemistry of things. Like I was saying, like with the eggs, like a white sperm can't even locate a black egg unless it's dying. It has to be late in the ovulation for the white sperm to even find out where it's at, to where the energy can match and they can locate each other. Because it's almost like defending itself by vibrating at that frequency. It's almost like pushing everything back. So like, when people do, beat the system, or in a sense, they're beating themselves, and they cross-pollinate like that, then, you know, it creates, you know, you're gonna have ramifications.
Disorder.
Yeah, disorder. Yeah, it's disrespect. You know,
Yeah.
disorder, disrespect, and then you got, you know, you have this other person where, especially if it's from a white sperm and a black egg, that light sperm being yang, the egg being yin, the darkness, that can't even light it can't even light this flower, this seed up. I mean, this egg up like it's supposed to. So the light's not gonna circulate. The blood's not even gonna circulate through this body like it's supposed to. And
I had jaundice. Like,
yeah, and so you got all that space where the blood's not circulating. It's just parasites and fungus and mucus and food. And then the other way, where you got like domination, where I feel like you know, you got dark skinned brothers, you know, with the light skinned chicks or the white girls, because, you know, it's almost like payback for slavery, or they feel like they got control, or like the whole light skin psyop thing.
Or just Hollywood.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this side.
Yeah.
Yeah, the light skin side.
Yeah, like I feel like that shit, like, you know, it's like now you have a egg that can't house all the yang. It can't retain it. Like it's almost like
some potential's wasted.
Yeah, like it's like they're more in the ether than they're in their body, because they can't feel it. It's just too much for that body, you know what I mean? And I feel like the amount of cultivation and development of that body just to inhabit it, to be able to fit in it. It's like being in some shoes that don't fit. Like playing ball in some shoes that don't fit. It'd be miserable your whole life, you know? And, you know, so, yeah.
But it's normal. You wouldn't be miserable as far as like when you maybe if you left the body or something, you got some contrast.
Yeah.
You know, to see what's
yeah.
going on.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's straight, you know what I mean, if you get that kind of perspective. If you got that kind of perspective where you're like, okay, it's just a vehicle, and I'm in and out of vehicles, and it's nothing. But yeah, like, you know, it's just for the most part, people be doing shit so unconsciously, their parents, that the kids be unconscious, and, you know, and then it's just crazy, like, because like if you're coming from a white woman, all women are getting the egg when they're in the womb. They're getting their eggs in the womb. So, you know, we're getting our sperm at puberty, and they got their eggs whenever they was in the womb with their mother. So
grandma.
Yeah, if she's a white woman, then she's coming out of this other white woman. That's when that egg was being formed. You know what I mean? So like that, it's just not the same as if it was, you know, if it was like, you know, a black person with, you know, a black woman with a black grandmom. It's gonna be totally different tissue. Like the tissue's not even gonna be as mesomorphic. You know, black tissue is more mesomorphic. You know what I mean? And then the Middle Easterners and the Asians are more endomorphic, and then the people that are more ectomorphic would be your Europeans.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like a fabric. You know what I mean? You got your three levels of tissue, and if you have more mesomorphic, then your skin is just more elastic, more electric, it can fit more nutrients per square inch. You know what I mean? And endomorphic, you know, you're gonna be your yellow brown, you know, lighter yellow or your light brown people will be more endomorphic, and then pink and yellow people will be, you know, or pink or pale people will be ecto. But everybody has all three layers. It's just that, you know, black people have them, you know, everything's rich. It's all layers of tissue is there. Mm-hmm. So and then the tissue is pretty much just like it's blood. You know, it's made from blood, which is made from the breath, which is your spirit, or your melanin, your soul, which is like pretty much, you know, you can look at the breath or the blood as like melanin itself. You know what I mean? It's like liquid soul. You know what I mean?
No, okay, that's the word I was looking for.
Liquid
like, because I asked you about
soul.
melanin. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Liquid soul.
Yeah, and that's so like the circulation of that soul. You know, people. You know, it's just more heat. You know, it's more. You know, and it's just gonna keep the you know, because it's all pH, man. The potential of hydrogen. That's so much. That's everything to do with heat and the temperature of the body, the temperament, the pH.
Yeah.
So like, you know, if you have that much heat, you can just process more, man. You eat food
metabolism,
and
all that.
You metabolize everything.
Information processing.
Everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just that when it's obstructed, then you overheat so much easier, you know, and then you just melt down. You know what I mean? Because it's just like anything, you know, a car that overheats or whatever, the head gasket blows. You know, it's just we're just, you know, that's designed after us. So like, I just feel like, you know, when in respect of creation, just looking at that, the eggs and sperm thing, you know, I be acknowledging that. And people are really different. You know, I mess with light-skinned girls that their father's white and they're a different kind of person than if their mother's white. It's really a different kind of person.
Or if their grandmothers.
Yeah.
Like, melanin, yeah.
It'd be really different, you know. People are really different, you know, And it's not even to be racist. It's just almost like to give everybody their just due in a sense. Like that's the space that you occupy. Like kind of, you know, and you grow from there.
And it fits into the whole picture.
Yeah.
Of nature.
Yeah, this
and God and
kaleidoscope.
being organized.
Yeah.
And so that's where it's like, oh, okay, I see why there's differences. I was confused with these.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but okay. Now I can relax a little more into what's a little more of what's going on.
Yeah, you know, and I don't know, like, I just always wanted to be as respectful as possible with creation, you know, creating anything. Because I guess you're always creating whether you're conscious of it or not.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to just be as respectful, you know, whether I'm taking things from elements from people or, you know, whatever it is, I always want to be respectful of whatever I'm doing to create. Because, you know, I guess it is ultimately channeling and mixing and rearranging the same ingredients. But, like, I don't know. I feel like respect has to be paramount in the process, you know. And
sincerity, just as much as sincerity.
Yeah. They're definitely tied together.
Yeah.
Because you can't get correctness. You can't get greatness without correctness, and you can't get correctness without sincerity and respect, really. So it kind of all goes.
And even in that process, like being just as focused about it at the end as in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, maybe kind of related, but still, through the whole thing, like to actually see see the process of going through this. It's like, oh, let's see it through. It
went down.
But I should be able to turn it back on and get it back up. But yeah,
Phone's still on.
Phone's still on. Oh, cool.
Is it
Phone's
still on?
Yeah. So I can still use the audio from the phone, and we can finish this up.
Yeah.
And then I'll get that audio back. But yeah, so just being focused, as much like seeing the whole process, being sincere. Being respectful, it's easy in the beginning, learning about it, but then to maintain the sincerity throughout and being that serious about being respectful about the process through the whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole life.
It's like if you're present, you can enjoy it. You don't enjoy it when you're not present. And it's like, if you're concerned with the end, then you can't enjoy the middle. So it's just like, you gotta be present. It really comes down to just the basics, like in thinking, keep to the simple, like just be present. Everything, the power's in the moment, be present. And then I'll enjoy it as long as I just keep finding the power in the moment. And like, there's no way I'm not gonna enjoy it because I'm gonna be invigorated from the power.
Yeah.
And then I'll see
it's divine power too.
Yeah.
When you're aligning with creation like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, man. That's definitely, you know, you definitely feel the hand of God. It's no separation. You know, it just sounds facetious, you know, because we're talking about it. But is the identification or what that beingness, that presence, there's no separation. There's never been two perfects. You know, we're made in this likeness, or we are this likeness. Not in like what people are seeing, you know, the part that is the God part, you know, is connected to all of the God part. Because it's God, there's no separation. And like whenever that part is driving, you know it. You know when it's that. And that's really the true you anyway. So it's like, it's the primal identity, you know, it's the underlying identity of everything. And
that's who can practice the Tao.
Yeah.
Or practice the way. Scarcely.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you scarcely do that.
Yeah. It's because there's no excess in that identity, you know, because you don't want excess, and you know you don't want to take it or give it. It's like, you know, you're just do your work and then step back.
Yeah.
You know, that identity is, you know, it's aware of it's awareness. You know what I mean? So it you know, it's funny to explain awareness.
Yeah. It's funny to explain how there's no separation, and it's funny to talk about integrity without being facetious.
Yeah.
Right. But even then, it's like I'm not gonna pull it out in a conversation anymore and tell people about it. I'm not gonna insist on my integrity, and you know, like that's a mistake I was making like even like a few weeks ago. It's like, oh, integrity, like come on.
Yeah.
But nah, it's just It's
like the second book of the Tao when Chuang Tzu was like, I don't know why they call it a Tao, and I don't know why they call it virtue. He's like saying like once you call it something, it's losing its luster anyway. He's like, why even call it virtue? He's like, at the moment that you have to try to be virtuous, it's not virtue. So it you know, it's funny how it is like encapsulating things in words is like such a gift and a curse.
Yeah, but it's beautiful when it's art and poetry.
Yeah,
you know, you can do some science. You can get some science done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
alchemy.
Anything that brings you to remember it. You know, I feel like anything that's making you present, is you're gonna remember from being present. Whatever does that, you know, I can get behind that. I can align with that.
It's just unifying.
Yeah.
With those fractured pieces.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Everything pushing its own button, expressing itself, reminding everything of itself, you know, and it really is just like we just gotta honor our happiness, you know, or honor our peace, you know. I guess I shouldn't say happiness, but honor our contentment, you know, what creates that, you know. But then people just gotta be real with themselves, like what brings their contentment, what are they really happy with, like, you know, some people, you know, they think that they want more than they really do, so it's funny. You could be
from a limited identity.
Yeah. So you're gonna look at it like, man, I need this, I need that, but you know, you're really content if you had only this, that, and the third, and you know, if you focused on that, then you'd have even more. But people don't want to.
Well, they can't fathom.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the wall.
Yeah,
Just can't fathom what that's like because they haven't been exposed to that level of existence.
Yeah, I guess it's just filling up the space in a more intelligent way. That's the only thing it's the best way I guess I could put it, because the more you do that, then the more I feel like that becomes apparent, because you're just like, you know, as you fill up the space in intelligent ways, like the void just, I feel like, gets smaller and smaller.
How about this? The more you fill up space, the more intelligent you become, because that space is intelligent.
Yeah. You can look at it like that, man.
Yeah, I mean, either way, both ways. It's intelligence. You know, like, that's what we're dealing with. Like, not supreme intelligence, but...
Yeah, but you can say that, though. Supreme.
I was going to say, I didn't want to sound facetious.
I know. You know, but like, you know, supreme is built on the inferior. So it's like the inferior is just as important as the supreme. Like, I need to have the intelligence of, like, anything, you know, how to, you know, fix something that I have, an appliance or something. That's some inferior intelligence, but if it's in my life, then I need that just as much as I need the superior intelligence that brings me to the point of not needing it. Like, it's like they kind, you know, they exist, you know, like being and non-being create each other kind of thing.
Yeah, like natural and supernatural.
Yeah.
The mundane.
Yeah.
And the
extravagant.
Yeah, the extravagant. Yeah. Like they're both. Yeah, and again, it's just no separation. It's like, you know, if you shine a light and then you put one lens, like a yellow lens, and a blue lens, and a red one. The light's going through the lenses, but when it's changing, that process of actually being changed, there's no gaps.
Yeah, no.
And that's like a really good visual example of no separation, just in creation, from like oneness to.
Yeah, and everything being light. I guess you could say
everything being a projection, a hologram.
Yeah, everything being melanin or light, ultimately.
Yeah.
If it exists at some level, if it can't exist without that as its basis at some level, or it's coming. You know what I mean? Like everything is melanin on its way to itself, kind of like. I don't know. I don't know. It really is light, and everything is light or dying light, decaying light or whatever. But it's all light, like
a star or a person.
Yeah.
Is the subtle energy dissipates, returns to its origin.
Yeah.
After it burns out.
Yeah.
And
it's just like flipping a sock inside out, and it's just the other way. It's just the other way. Like,
wow.
You know what I mean? Now I'm dreaming, or what I think is a dream, and then now I'm in this life or whatever, and it's like kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could be that. Like, I feel like now we're getting into like fourth dimensional models. Like, I don't know if you heard of a Klein bottle. Like, you've heard of a tesseract, right?
I don't think so.
Like a tesseract is like a square and then another square, and it's kind of like it goes in on itself. If you Google it, you'll just see like a little GIF of like a box that literally just goes in on itself.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I never know the name.
Yeah, I mean that's the fourth dimensional shape, and then another thing called a Klein bottle is like a bottle with like there's a spout, but then the spout goes into the bottle, but then it opens up to become the outside of the bottle.
Oh yeah. I've seen that in art too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, with the foreshortening and the depth perception.
Oh yeah.
You can do stuff like that. Yeah. And make things look like that.
Yeah, it could be a lot of things, and you know, I don't know. But the no mind, maybe I could get a glimpse, but nah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you know what I mean? You're talking about we say telepathy, what do you say, transcendentalism has no place in the oneness.
Yeah, like a telepathic person can just speak to someone else's mind, but they can't reach the person who's attained no mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the telekinetic can move things, but they can't access no space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's real. I mean, it really is basic like that. You know, I feel like so much gets lost in the language, but the Wahoo Ching really is. I feel like if the world read the Wahoo Ching, it'd be a different world in like 3 days. Like 3 days, yo. I feel like it'd be like no time because it's so basic. Like, you know, I know some of them words though. I could have read that when I was in like 2nd or 3rd grade. I feel like, and it would have changed my life forever.
Yeah. Yep. And it's cool studying and getting it copied down, and then just being able to be in Tao Town and just be dedicated to literally just studying these. You know, I like to get knowledge too. I like to like accrue knowledge, but it feels weird now.
Yeah.
Like it's nice. It's more like entertainment, like watching like Netflix. I'll just kind of watch like a seminar and get some not even conventional wisdom, like, you know, some info about how things work for my mind to eat. Much.
Yeah, you know, I'd rather fill the space up with Lao Tzu's work and Chuang Tzu's work and people and Raul Neframen, people like that, man. Any day, Dr. Bynum, mad people, man.
And that is like getting the beliefs installed. The reality starts to configure around that.
Yeah, because it's like because then life is like, okay, he knows this now. All right, now he gets the challenge that matches this person that is aware of this. So it's like life will do whatever it has to do to move you to that challenge or move the challenge to you. You know, as soon as you become aware of that stuff, made yourself aware of that. Like literally my life changed. Like after reading certain books, my life changed. Metanetter 1, life changed. Metanetter 2, life changed. Metanetter 3, life changed. It just immediate life changes. Like, you know, I uploaded a Raul Neframen video and my life changed. I was like, damn, see, this is instantly. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, it's not crazy, but it would be nice if you had people there. You know, people were there, you know, but not, you know, I'm not around them right now, but, you know, and not really much at all ever. So that's kind of sucks, but people was there too, you know. I'm like, look at this, man. Like, you know, look what happened as soon as I uploaded this, or like, you know, different times when you break the matrix and you're trying to upload stuff and the system's against you, you know, like that type of stuff is wild, man. And
I mean, that lines up with everything being light, everything being feedback.
Yeah.
You read those books, you change, you make those changes, like.
Yeah. It's like a living part of you. Like that book is really like a part of you that you're communicating with. I feel like it really, like they you know, he calls it the Metanetter Oracle. And I don't know, I feel like it definitely wants to be read, you know, and it wants to be read respectfully. Because I've seen people try to read it, and if they ain't got no respect, they won't make it through it.
Yeah, I've had this copy for like over a year, and I just opened it like 2 months ago.
Yeah,
I cracked it, like I got into the first part of it like a while back, but yeah, it's just like, I don't think I could not. Like something's blocking something until you're actually ready to get to the point.
Yeah. That's how the Bible even was for me. The Bible was like, all right, you have space now, so you're gonna be doing this every day, and you know what I mean. And there's no excuse. You're getting this done, and I don't know. I feel like every holy book has been that way for me.
Wow.
Like where it's like it's reading me, like it's crazy. Like it really do be like that. Like, all right, you ready? Pick me up, bitch.
Well, yeah, 100%, and that's what I'm on now. Like, you know, from episodes, like continuing episodes, like in between them, I'm just studying these, and it's mainly the Wahoo Ching. The Metanetter, the I Ching is what I'm about to start, and then just the Tao Te Ching. But those four, I'm just working with them.
Yeah. I would love to really to just have a course, just to run courses for kids, man. That's another reason I want to have a child, just to embody that around them, just so I can see where they take it, because. You know, my mom just doing yoga every morning, doing like, you know, her renditions of breathwork at that time, and you know, she's really into the feng shui. She was still into that a lot, and just being around that. I mean, she had so many other terrible habits though, but just being around those two things saved me so much in so many ways. So much heartache got saved just from yoga, her doing conscious breathing, and feng shui. I feel like that bleeding into my life ultimately made me available for these ideas, and like I only wondered like how it would be if I had, you know, a child or children, you know what I mean, how they would be if they was introduced to these ideas, you know, and they might already be such an embodiment of it that we won't even have to talk about it though.
Maybe they're doing it for you. Maybe a switch. they just embody.
Like they just be at the wheel.
Yeah.
They just be at the wheel moving my body around.
Yeah.
Nah, that's cool. As long as they got, I feel like then that's cool. Then we got the same interest stuff, like the same goals. So it's fine at that point when our agendas is the same.
Yeah, I mean you're one, so.
Yeah, but I know it could be treacherous. If that relationship isn't good, with the children, you're gonna be throwing something crazy.
Like so, a self-aware being woman to be able to cultivate and have a child with that person. I don't see any limit. I see like super babies, being able to get to the points of realizing who they are as God in a way that we really can't even imagine right now.
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine it.
And it just make us so much better.
Yeah,
it just make us so much better. Like, 'cause I don't know. I just know that like I'll be so nervous through the whole process. Being that present, I'll be feeling all my nerves. You know what I mean? So then I don't know, when that happens, I know I just get like kind of sick to my stomach and I don't be eating nothing. I know that's the same thing with my dad. My dad's super sober. He barely eats anything. Barely sleeps. He mad Taoist. He barely talks. He's mad Taoist, yo. Mm-hmm. And I know that's how I would be. And I've been just like running from being that guy my whole life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. But it works though in a lot of ways. It's just gonna be it's my responsibility to take it to another place.
Yeah, I mean, it's each person's to do that, and I feel like anyone who's not cultivate or not, I'm using the word cultivate a lot, but just doing that type of work feels like it's holding back humanity.
Yeah, like you could go out and picket and do a bunch of shit and go and be a freedom fighter in the world, but if you just have one kid and then he just his life expression is
like
changes,
a conscious kid.
Yeah, he just infects his whole generation. Then it's more powerful. You know what I mean? In my opinion, it's because it's from the inside out. I feel like the outside in shit is not.
That's the powerful. Outside in. Like look, the inside out is having a kid, but then just seeing the energetics. To have a kid like that, and then have a family, and then build a community with that shared awareness.
And all the miracles, though. You're gonna be going through like a million miracles, and then the pregnancy miracle, and then the birth miracle, and then you're gonna survive for all the miracles. There's hella miracles, like, and then the faith just gets stronger.
Yeah.
So then it's like, then you're more attractive. And so then it's like, I feel like I don't see any negatives in it if you do it consciously. It's just people just running from it. So then it happens, and then it's unkind and they hate it. I think that's like 90% of it, man. I got friends that had kids just off of just being drunk and not even knowing, stuff like that. And they always the ones telling me don't have kids. You know what I mean? I'm like, you're right, for you. You know what I mean? You was right. I can't tell you you're wrong, but.
Yeah, man.
A big part of you wanted to do it or you wouldn't have. You just wasn't even communicating with that part. And now, look at you. Like, I know. So, I'd rather just take it head on.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's there. It be there, you know what I mean? Different people definitely make me, make my body relax more. And I guess that's where I'm at, where it's like, I'm going to just hold out until it's like, it feel like the whole world, it would be fighting the world to not do it. To where it's just obvious, right? Just let the mud settle in the water. And the water be clear, and I'm like, all right, fine, bust this nut.
If you can, if you even can.
Yeah, if I can at that point.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wonder how it would be.
Yeah, man.
I'm wondering,
Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna I thought to just recommend taking shrooms. I think you might be able to do it off that.
Just to relax my body more.
I don't I've just heard some crazy stuff. You ever heard the Magdalene manuscript?
Mary Magdalene?
Yeah.
No.
It's this one channeled book that was talking about Mary Magdalene being Jesus' tantric partner.
I might have heard of that then, but yeah, all right, I don't know. I might have heard of it. What,
yeah, I mean, because I got into that info, and other people have talked about Jesus being a mushroom, Jesus being on shrooms.
Yeah, I seen that. The Jesus and the Mushroom Cross book. I seen that.
Yeah. And so it's just like the Magdalene manuscript is saying just how she was cultivating with Jesus so he could do miracles, and then even I'm just seeing or taking the mushrooms. I can see either one just from my personal experiences.
Yeah.
Just the level of energy.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That I've got to. So it's like,
man.
Yeah.
Like even when it's somebody that's not even on a lifestyle, not even tantric, like my ex-wife, just from banging her and not busting, in that last year, I was getting so much. Just from having someone I was close to and I wasn't scattering my energy and with no other women or nothing, and I just had an honest relationship with her and I wasn't being sexual with nobody else. And I didn't want nobody else. I really wasn't even thinking. I was just kind of wanting to cultivate my energy. You know what I mean? And I felt like I got mad shit. I got so much shit that I wasn't even thinking about getting. You know what I mean? I had way more shit, you know what I mean, than I could even deal with. You know what I mean? So yeah, in good ways though.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah, like I had a food truck, I had a house in LA, I had an apartment in Sacramento, and a cottage in Sacramento. I had this place. You know what I mean? And I feel like it really was like, damn, unification of yin and yang. It was somebody I respected intellectually and emotionally that I couldn't hide from. And she was beautiful to me, but we had our differences, you know? And I just feel like just being around that while cultivating my energy and not spilling seed, not scattering energy with other women, I got everything that I wanted.
Harmonizing.
Yeah.
You harmonize, your fields contributing to the harmony of the planet, just you living that life.
Yeah, and I feel like I cropped all the energy from that, broke up with her, just traveled the world, was mad selfish, you know what I mean? And I just depleted the energy, stopped harmonizing, kind of just started wrecking chicks. You know, chicks was wrecking me. So like, shit was happening, you know what I mean? We all just creating traumas, living in trauma, you know? And then, you know, now I'm just like, I guess a more conscious vamp.
Yeah, but the contrast, you know? The whole spectrum of experience. That's why I don't feel like it's like not an enlightened thing to be angry or something. Like, or you know, you like to identify with the anger, you know. But I see someone who, if they can be sad, angry, happy, all the things, a dick, really nice, you know, just the whole thing. But it's completely unstructured. Like the attitudes. Unstructured, not even being anything but what's called for in the situation. Yeah. From a detached point.
Yeah, everything's appropriated.
Yeah, is that how you're feeling?
Like, is that what I want?
Is that kind of how you're feeling? Like where you're headed? Like.
Oh, yeah, and yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely, man. I feel like, just like a slightly sweet attitude. I don't want to, you know what I mean? I feel like just slightly sweet. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna like just a little bit over the PA, like 7.1.
Still pretty indifferent though.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but you know, like still pedal on the metal, you know, my foot on the pedal a little bit, you know what I mean? Just a little bit, you know. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like pointed but not piercing, you know, for sure, definitely though. I definitely, you responding accordingly for sure. Prepare for everything. I guess that's the best anybody could do. But and I guess the overall Taoist lifestyle that I've, all the things I've kind of created into this culture almost, like that. I feel like it's funny, man. Like it kind of creates so many prerequisites, like for who you can be around. Yeah. But I feel like it's accurate though. I don't know, like the scale. I mean, I'm sure people adjust it, make it better over time. My outlook on things, but I feel like a lot of the things, the points I'm making of why things are the way they are, and like just observing the reality. I feel like some of this shit's dead on. I mean, I'm sure
it's dead on, but relative to the culture, it's like you can't. It's not relatable. It's not normal. It's not normal. It's just too alien of an idea.
Yeah. Just to introduce it to people is it's a whole nother bag. Like putting it on a plate to introduce is wild. You know what I mean? Besides just just living it, and then people just asking you like, what are you doing? Why are you like this? I guess that's the only other way you could live, right? Like you either gotta present it on like a platter for people, or you gotta just like your presentation is just your embodiment of the lifestyle. And it's just funny. I just wonder how many people you'd even be around though. Like if you really are in the full embodiment.
It's not conventional. That's the word. That the lifestyle that goes with it is not conventional compared to what people are doing. So it's just.
It's such a less is more lifestyle that like you would probably be around like 6 people for the rest of your life or something. Everything would just be super intimate though. You know, all total presence or something. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
And then you just live in parallels. Use your body as a server. I don't know what I'd be thinking. Like you're just storing memories from all the parallel lives into this one body.
Your dreams.
Because your dreams, you're present for all of them, and this body's just a server that you just like store memories in, and then you have a kid consciously embody the shit, so it gets imprinted on them. They carry it. You reincarnate through them. You're like already kind of waking up in that dream, in that forward life or whatever, which might be the past or whatever, and then you just pouring those memories into that, and then just keep doing that, I guess, into full crystallization. I was like, yes. I mean, that I don't know. That's my best shot at what
Let's see how it goes, man. Let's see how it goes. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how vivid your dreams are at this point. And, like, what that can turn into. What you see that turning into for you.
It's wild because I think it's funny, man, like, that people, like, it's so much, it's like the ego death thing, how you really think you're dying. Like, if if you take a heroic dose, enough of a heroic dose, like, you at some point, you can trick yourself that you're dying or something. I mean, because it's like, it's so much, so overwhelming, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I guess, for me, you're right, yeah. I have internal experiences.
It's a
like,
threshold.
Yeah, to where it feels like my personality is dying. You know what I mean? And then, like, everything attached to that feels like, oh my God, it's like, it's, grasping for life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
I just feel like it's just a wild thing, like how when you're fasting extensively, that sleep is really like death, Like, I feel like it really is. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like your breath gets so slow because there's no obstruction that it's like your heart rate gets so low. Like, from my experience, then that's, my dreams be like other lives. It really is like other lives, And I'm like, damn, I'm really missing out. I guess I just let these other bodies do their thing. I'm not even taking care of them. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just because it's a lot of stress. When I dream, I'm like, damn, there's a lot of stressful dreams. Sometimes I have peaceful dreams, but I'll be having a lot of stressful dreams when I'm fasting. I'm like, whether they're emotional or I'm just like exerting my body like in the dream. So I think it's a funny thing, like how a lot of people will go into a fasted state and go through the pains of detox and everything, and then they're gonna go through those dreams, and it's gonna be a lot of shit to discourage the average person throughout the process that it makes them want to be like, yo, no, I can't keep going down this path or whatever. But I guess if they just take the punches, roll with the punches, and take the ups and downs,
and see the working models.
Yeah,
I feel like that's necessary.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. Like Tupac said, he's like, look, until somebody's perfect, we'll all get along. And if we do meet somebody perfect, then they can train me. So like, that's the thing too about having the children. I feel like, just to keep them like, as close to themselves. And I feel like that's perfect. I mean? They ain't gotta be fucking some idea of perfect, but just close, as close to themselves as possible. Then they could just train you, and you train each other. But yeah, not fasting like that though. Them deep fasts, I really feel like that every time I went to sleep, and when I'm past 6 or 7 days on no calories, it's like death. And I know mad people are gonna get up that next morning and be like, yo, I gotta eat something, I gotta do something. Like, and it's like, oh man, you're not doing anything to cultivate the energy in other ways. Like, you just makes it miserable. But yeah, if you're doing any other practices to cultivate energy, any other ways you could channel or connect with the creation, the creator, then it's so much easier to get through those like moments of just your body being, going through the detox pains.
Yeah.
And in the sleep, man, I feel like on long periods of like 100 days on just juice or just coconut water and juice, like I feel like going through breath work throughout the day, I had to do so much breath work to even get tired enough to sleep. It's like life wouldn't even let me. It was crazy, yo. Like, what I mean? And all I could do was just like read. I was just reading like the Bible, the Quran. I was reading everything. I was reading everything I could read at that point. Thich Nhat Hanh. I was reading everybody. Anybody I could read. Fuck Genghis.
Fasted.
Yeah. I was just taking shit in, you know what I mean? In another way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like, like life was like, all right, you've used the whole day to write the Tao Te Ching in Spanish or write the Tao Te Ching in German or whatever. I was doing shit like that, you know what I mean? Just cause, like, anything to fill that space in a productive way to make me better. I feel like those dreams that I got off of them days was just incredible, you know what I mean? And then when I would have like bad dreams or dreams that was, stressful, everything would just be so vivid, and it would all make sense though why I'm having it and everything, and all come to the light in the next few days after the dream. And then I start writing the dreams down, and then my priorities really became like clarity. Clarity became my priority. You know what I mean? And in more ways than one, clarity is my priority.
Or contentment.
Yeah, and I just feel like clarity is the word. You know what I mean? Yeah, like that. I don't know, contentment. Like, yeah, I feel like contentment for me is definitely. But I feel like when the clarity is there, then it's easy for me to. I don't know. The contentment just comes. Everything just comes. I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
And so that's what that gave me though. I feel like those periods really gave me that, and I feel like when I was doing fast when I was younger in my early 20s, that like the energy level and consciousness level I was tapping into is kind of like just like my normal now. You know what I mean? At the time, it just felt like, oh my God, you can live like this. Oh my God, 13 days on water. I'm like, oh my God, yo, this is crazy. I'm so at peace. Oh my God, right? And now, like, it's just like a regular day. You know what I mean? I feel like the level of consciousness and the way my body feels. You know what I mean? And like,
and that's cultivation. That's what it's a gradual process.
Yeah, and I mean, at 40, I can only imagine where I'll be, and that's why I kind of think like maybe that's when maybe I won't have a child until then, like later and then at that point, because I don't know, like
either way you wait until it's obvious.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I be wondering like if because my patience like it might take another 10, like another 9 years to get me. I don't know.
And if you rush, it's kind of rapey.
Yeah, but maybe it doubles up. If it took 10, maybe it only take 5, 35, 36. I don't know.
You know what I mean? No expectations.
Yeah,
so.
nah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. At the same time, you know, I definitely would want to do it at where my body feels really good. You know, I feel I don't really feel that much different than I did at 19, 20 in my body. You know, I was damaged then, and it's still some shit I'm working out now. But I feel like I definitely am way more flexible, have way more balance, and way more endurance. I know my body more. You know what I mean? I know what its limits in the sense. You know, the limits based on what I'm doing. Because I know if I wanted to bench 315 pounds, I could dedicate my life to that and get that done. I'm not willing to make that trade right now. You know what I mean? But so I know the limits where it's at, like where its current state. I know like, all right, I'm at this place with it, so I know not to push it this way. Like, and like, I don't know. It's like you're gonna make a trade one way or another. Like you're gonna create a different point of attraction based on your body's density. So you're making some kind of trade, and like it just at this point the trades are just like I can't make certain trades like. My checkbook, my balance, the way my energy's set up, you know what I mean? I can't even make certain trades now, because like life knows, and I know that life knows what I know, and it's like I'm just dealing with the pressure, like so everybody really is kind of on the same level because everybody's dealing with the same available diseases like pride and wrath and all that. It's like always available, so it's like doesn't matter who you are, no matter which stage you're in, like that's always available. And you're going through like a relative challenge, so it's like it's still always available. Like you know what I mean? And it's like it's wild how like nobody really is up or down on anybody, because you gotta live inside of you, and
And that's the final frontier.
Yeah, pleasure shared is pleasure doubled though, and misery shared is misery doubled. I feel like I don't know.
No, I mean that makes sense. The math's there.
The math, yeah, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, so that's my goal is just to move over, like I want to get over to like smoothies, green juices for more extended periods of time, and that's where I feel like I'm at. That's where I'm headed.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to just kind of keep tracking that. I'll be tracking the progress here.
Yeah, and I feel like it was every time I've ever been successful in that is really just genuinely honoring the way my body feels. Because, sometimes I'll be consuming out of routine. Sometimes I'm consuming to just fill a void or whatever. But, like, if I'm consuming to feel good, like, I'm going to take this green juice because it's the thing that's going to make me feel the best. Or this coconut water is going to hydrate me the best, most efficiently. Or whatever it is, like, whatever it is. I feel like if I'm operating from that place, that's when it changed for me. When I was like, I'm no longer operating based on, like, my ideas and thoughts of things. It's really, I'm just, how's my body feel? What's going to make me feel the best? And then as soon as it became that, then it was just like, it was over. It was all nutritional value over entertainment value. And then I just kept trying to just be as precise as possible. And then, progressing and regressing and doing different things. Now I'm at a place where, I'm feeling genuinely it's genuinely in me to discipline myself in a different way, where I feel like I want to go back to just, I would like to grow my own microgreens and juice them, and then be just self-sufficient in that, just having microgreens, juicing them, and then going to town getting coconut water, juices and stuff like that, and juicing anything, and just getting back to that point, and just seeing how I feel from there. I just feel like one way or another, like a year of that, or 6 months of that, or months of that, month on, have a smoothie, a month on, and have a meal or whatever it is, and just be basically always juice or reverting to juice, or coconut water, or mostly water in general. Then that will, you know, I feel like I'm genuinely in a place where I want to do it. It's not like I'm trying to do it to prove anything to anybody or anything like that. It's just like my life is going in that direction, and it feels like I'll be going against the momentum of life to not do it.
That's why I be letting myself have stuff. Like I recognize I'm still in routines and things like that, and so to find that place where I'm not having to think about it or do it for pride or do it for something else, but just to wholeheartedly do it for my being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's, you know, it's totally sincere. You just don't care. Like, you would do this if you were alone and not recording videos.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever it is. Yeah. You would do it regardless, no way, one way or another. This is gonna happen. The videos are just gonna be recorded just cause, but it was gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like that, and so I'm just really grateful for you just being able to reflect and be that pattern me.
Oh, no doubt, man. You know, it's dope, man. I feel like if anybody, like you said, man, need more people that are that make it look attractive. You know, make it look cool, man. I feel like you tapped into that and to a generation that I don't know nothing about. So I think that you're going to continue to be successful with it, and it'll be just better for that whole generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and then whoever follows, because. Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, like, I'm kind of cut off, like, from certain groups of people, you know, physically, physical proximity, and in that ways. I'm just, you know, it's kind of wild, man. You know, the whole government thing happening. I guess ultimately it's all an extension of God, and it's supposed to be this way. But, you know, the way that we're cut off from people, like the way the internet is structured, the people you can see and not see, the way you can connect with certain people, the way certain people are censored or blocked, you know, it's nice to be able to.
The way people block you in their own mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's nice to not even have to go with that rigmarole and just, you know, have somebody in your face that you can respect and that you can you know, exchange with, and you know that it'd be good for the world. You know what I mean? It sucks when it's like, you know, like, damn, this is only like good for me, I guess, or for my idea of myself.
Yeah. 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 How's it go? He who cultivates himself for his own pride will only understand half of the truth. He who does it for other people will also get half of it, but he who does it for the world will get everything, basically.
Yeah, it's like, cause it's like, it really is like the law zero, the law of Amen, and Metanetta is like, I was made in the likeness of a peace that nothing can disturb. I reclaim my peace so that I may attain my reason for coming into existence, the enjoyment of life. It's like, I have to enjoy life. Like, my mission in life is to enjoy it because I am life, and it's my responsibility to enjoy it so life can enjoy it through me. Yeah. And it's like, I feel like that's like paramount in the whole thing. Like, it's like it really is our responsibility just to enjoy ourselves.
Wow. And you're fucking up if you're not.
Yeah, like, you really are. Like, you're subjecting God to a whack-ass life.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so let's keep enjoying it and keep sharing.
Yeah.
I'm happy with how this turned out.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a bunch of shit to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, it's so many stories and so many little journeys within the journey that it's gonna be a lot of shit to talk about. Definitely.
Let's go.
Yeah, man.
Cool. This is Tao Town?
Yeah. I guess we could wrap it if you feel like to wrap it. I guess we'll go up top soon anyway.
Yeah, I don't know how much memory I have left on the phone too.
Yeah.
So
it's gonna be a doozy uploading it.
So yeah, it'll be that. It'll be half nice audio, but yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for checking it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out.
Word.
Yeah,
Yes,
man.
Sir.
Shit. Cool.
Yes, sir.
Alright.
Fucking dogs. Like, what y'all doing? What y'all doing?